Carla and welcome back to my channel, Written Word Calligraphy. Today I'm going to be talking all about Instagram for calligraphers, specifically if you're trying to do this for a business. It's part of my series on calligraphy business because Instagram is still a really good tool for you to showcase your work as well as to share to people a little bit about your personality and your brand. Take a sneak peek into what you do because it still helps with your brand personality as well as building your brand trust to your target audience. So I'll be sharing with you some of my tips and tricks to get started as a calligraphy business on your Instagram. And so here I have my mobile device with my Instagram on. I definitely spend a lot of my time on Instagram on my mobile device rather than on the desktop. The desktop definitely, you can have a bigger screen and see a lot more things, but some of the features you can only really do right on your mobile device, such as like putting up the reels and things like that. And so you should, as much as you can, it's probably more organic to use the app. And if you really need to, then use the desktop for the other pieces. When you're starting out as a calligraphy business and wanting to use Instagram, definitely one of the most important things is to make sure that you have a business account. That way you have access to insights, which is right here. Of course, I didn't click on it right away, but this is the insights. So this is where you can take a closer look at what is happening on your page and that you can make the right decisions on what else to post. Like what are the contents that you've been sharing? What are the stories? Like what are the, like what's going on essentially like week over week, month over month, and understand what people are responding to, like what are the most popular content. So for example, with the content you shared here, you can take a very close look at what people are responding to. So this one is from like this past last year, but you can go say 3 months, for example, and take a look at what people are looking at, what people like. For example, this one is a personal picture of me standing up, taking a photo of my items. Definitely not the safest thing to do, but people respond to it because it's funny and they probably have done something similar and people resonate with that sometimes a lot more than like a picture perfect image. People do really respond to reels as well, or like images, like for example, like this one where it's like a preview of what's on my table, on my desk, like workspace types of things. So it's good for me to know. You can select also, like for example, like how many of these actually clicked on my website. So for example, profile visits. Those are really good to know because even if this content people respond to a lot, but you want to create content that will drive the right behavior that you'd want, which is normally to visit your website so that they could contact you and purchase things, that kind of stuff. So for example, this drove a lot of traffic to my website because it has me teaching a free workshop with the summer retreat. It was just happening next week actually, or I don't know, by the time this video is already probably done. But it's just good for me to know. That way I'm creating content that would be relevant to my my audience. And that's one of the crucial reasons why it's important to have, to look at your insights and so that you can make the right decisions based on that as well. You can also check, with the content interactions, like what, how many comments and things like that, what are the top posts and top stories. And that way you can, create content that is related to that. And of course, had to do with content repurposing. So whenever I create a piece of content, like for example, like this image right here, I don't only take one photo. I usually take these videos as well, or like take different aspects of it. That way I'm maximizing the layout of what I've already done. So typically too, whenever I'm creating, say like a video like this one, I create like a really long video first, and then I cut it up into different pieces so that it can be used as a Instagram reel. I could use it for TikTok. I could take up a few seconds of it and put it on Pinterest, for example. I could also take the final picture and use that as a post here on Instagram or as a cover, and it could also be used as a pin. So I would say, so that you can be effective with your posts is that whenever you do want to create a post, don't just go and like take a photo of something random in your workspace. Oh, of course you can still do that, but it's better if you plan things out, and that way that you will have all sorts of variety in your feed and have them all ready to be posted on your device. And that way you get variety in your posts as well. And that whenever you are posting, you want to make sure that you are bringing some kind of call to action, even if it's just like a pretty photo, essentially. Like, for example, something like this, I talk about like the story behind the wax seal. I do tell them to, visit my website if they want to purchase this. And that way it gives them a chance to kind of, like know that, okay, if I do want to get it, how do I get it? It's not just like a random product. People who see this picture might not be might not know me, so they might not know exactly what's going on. So if they're new to my shop, it's best if they are able to take a look at it. Normally with this product, I would put in a product tag, to utilizing essentially the features that Instagram already has. But I'm currently moving websites, and so I've had to remove my tags because it was getting broken. It was going to the wrong places. But typically, this is like the features that you would get with your business account that you won't get with just a personal creator account. And of course, like creating a variety of content is always useful for starting your own your business and like being able to utilize Instagram. Instagram definitely rewards using all sorts of different content, especially these days. That's why I usually alternate my photos with videos. Like, people like to watch like things like this where you're packing, or like you're fulfilling orders, and people like to see people like writing, or like for example, these ones, like we were creating like the kits for the signed book bundle. So creating all sorts of different content. Also having some kind of picture of yourself is helpful, because it does really increase like the personality aspect of your Instagram. Like, for example, here I've posted a photo of myself and my son, because it just I talk about motherhood, and it's a very essential part of my business and my life, and I'm very passionate about it, and showing a lot of those aspects does really help like your Instagram like flourish, essentially. And so those are my tips and tricks in terms of how to get started with your Instagram account. There's definitely more to it than just like setting up your account and posting like all sorts of different content. There's a strategy to it. So I talk about it a lot more in my course, Calligraphy Business Kickstarter, because I know that running a business is not easy, and specifically running a calligraphy business, there's so many different nuances, and I'd love to share with you like the types of content that people love and react to and engage with. And engagement is such a huge part of social media and in making it good on Instagram. So I talk about a lot of it in my course. So if you're interested in that, or you want to learn more, I'm going to put the link in my description, but it's also writtenwordacademy.com/CBK for Calligraphy Business Kickstarter. All right, you guys, if you have any questions for me at all, or if you would like me to follow your Instagram, maybe you could put that in your comments below. I'd love to take a look, and perhaps we'll be buddies on Instagram, and I'll see you guys in another video.